I want to emphasize how lucky all of you are to be able to be part of this and how much I respect every single person who comes up to this microphone.
What's the value of that as someone who's outside of a classroom like this?
People your age are fighting wars. You vote. You should be able to handle mean comments.
Say it more specifically again. Like, what is it about listening to students that's so intriguing?
Because this is where those conversations are supposed to be happening.
Yeah. In a university.
And no one gets the chance to peek behind the curtain and actually see it. They hear stories, but this is as far as I've seen, this is the only place where people can go to actually see it. Now and then you'll see recordings, but not live, not like this.
We learn from each other when we're willing to say what we think. And if we all did say what we thought and explored what we thought with each other, we wouldn't have to worry about are we making sure all the perspectives are present, because they are present and they would be voiced.
Or being offended or something like that. Or we wouldn't be attacking other people. What did you see happening in here? What grabbed your attention?
You were the only professor who was doing what I wanted to do. And I was experimenting with that, and that's essentially what cost me my teaching job. So I recognize this is extremely rare, what's happening in this room. And I want to emphasize how lucky all of you are to be able to be part of this and how much I respect every single person who comes up to this microphone. I want to make that very clear tonight. But it's remarkable that you have the opportunity to have this, because this is being live streamed. I'm not sure you realize how many people are actually watching this, and we don't want to make you jittery. Not just on the stream, but people like me. There are many out there who are going to make videos, and those videos can get a lot of views. We started having this conversation after a remarkable class session the day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I made a video covering that class, and that's gotten close to 4 million views. That's what started this conversation. We're going to delve into some of the realities of what Sam has to deal with to make something like this possible. So when I was watching it, I was like, man, there's something pure about this, because he's not chasing views. You were describing yourself as an influencer in a way, but you're not you're not chasing that. It's pure. You're here because you're an academic. That caught my attention, and I've always come back to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's the value of that as someone who's outside of a classroom like this, as a filmmaker, like someone who's watching, someone who's really paying attention to the online space? What do you see as the value of what we're doing here?
So I got fired for a recording of me teaching. It was on my teaching portfolio. I didn't expect it to be viewed. It was brought over to X by someone else. Elon Musk tweeted it. 40 million or something. It got crazy, and the school was taken aback. They're like, what does this mean for us as a school? Because there are concerns. What if the student sees negative comments? But there's so much value if you're a teacher who's trying to teach students to think for themselves, but be able to stand in front of a crowd and articulate their thoughts. That's ultimately, your college is about you trying to become the person you could be. And this has so much utility. If you can come up here, not only it's one thing to stand in front of a crowd of people, it's another when there are potentially millions of people watching you do it. If you don't think that has utility, and many colleges don't, why? It's easier for them not to do this because there are risks, there are liabilities, there's going to be the potential for hurt feelings, but you're all adults as well. People your age are fighting wars. You vote. You should be able to handle mean comments, and we'll kind of get into some of this tonight.
Yeah. So there's something about and for me, it's the critical thinking. You know, if I give someone a microphone, they get a chance to think, and they get a chance to hear themselves think through their words. And this is why we say, teaching, people learn how to think when you start teaching, because you learn what it is that you understand about the world. And so I think for me, that's when it really started. For me, what are you trying to do with your work? Like, what's your...
Yeah, so I lost the ability when I really miss it. So that's why I'm really excited to be here with students. There's something, you just can't replace it. I've been fortunate to find a format that works for me where I get to examine interactions where I think there's interesting dynamics. I'm always drawn, though, to the ones where there's students. It's most interesting to me to be hearing you all express your thoughts, even if maybe you haven't thought it through all the way. Maybe you're being challenged. It can be messy. But there's a reason that video I was just describing the day after Charlie Kirk, that's the highest viewed video I've ever made. And there's a reason people are tuning into that. People want to see that.
Say it more specifically again. Like, what is it about listening to students that's so intriguing?
Because this is where those conversations are supposed to be happening.
Yeah. In a university.
And no one gets the chance to peek behind the curtain and actually see it. They hear stories, but this is as far as I've seen, this is the only place where people can go to actually see it. Now and then you'll see recordings, but not live, not like this. It's unique.
And I also think that people, and Laurie, I want you to weigh in on this. People have the idea that students, there's a critique of the higher education, there's brainwashing, there's whatever the students not thinking for themselves, that you all are sponges and you just take stuff on, whatever we tell you, you take on. But I think what we reveal in here is that that's not the case at all, that you all think for yourselves and you have a lot of interesting things to say. And so people get a window into that, and I think it's really uplifting for a lot of folks on the left and on the right. To see that, wow, young people, I get emails all the time, by the way, where people say, wow, I watch your students talking, and I have renewed hope for the country. I have renewed hope for young people.
But that's also because what you're doing is rare. Because you were presenting, the last class I was examining, you're not imposing your opinion. You're presenting, here's the two sides of the argument, and then you navigate that, and you make that the experiment. Because this is a sociology class, there's something, that's the specific goal of it, is your objectivity. But there are classrooms where that's not the case, and it is being interjected. It's very dependent upon the subject matter. Literature, in graduate school, I remember countless classes, like fine art, where you do detect, and we can get into this if you want, but postmodern thinking that is prevalent in many places. But you're right that this classroom is unique.
Yeah. Laurie, what do you see happening? Or can you talk about how much we have to wrestle with having many different perspectives? How much you and I wrestle with making sure that so many different ideas are aired out in a space like this? Or
yeah, there's so much in what you're saying. The first thing that's coming to me is actually to speak to you all as individuals, if that's possible, which it isn't. But when we're talking about students, you could kind of think that we're not talking about any of you, but any of you personally, right? And I'm trying to look at as many of you as I can in this moment. But the only reason that Sam and I, and I'm guessing now, I'm learning about you, Warren, do what we do is because of the individual eyes that we look into and the thoughts and the souls that reveal themselves when we're listening to you and to each other, to the point where I know I lose track of who's teaching and who's learning, because when we're humans and we're adults and we're talking to each other, we have experiences that we bring to the table that have the ability to catalyze learning in each other. And that is the most profound thing that I've experienced with students over the years, that I've never considered myself a teacher. I've just considered myself a companion. And so as we talk about this, if you each took that in and realized, outside of the schoolification that we have, right, where we do put ourselves, or have been put in a process where we spend 12 years being told what to think. So, here's how to do math, here's how to think about chemistry, right? We learn those things. We lose track of how in how much intelligence we have and how creative we are as thinkers.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
just, it's just a small little drop in an ocean, right? When we're like, hey, what do you think? You know what I mean? It's like, really, you are the universe, each of you. And so I don't know what else to say except that we learn from each other when we're willing to say what we think. And if we all did say what we thought and explored what we thought with each other, we wouldn't have to worry about are we making sure all the perspectives are present, because they are present and they would be voiced.
Or being offended or something like that. Or we wouldn't be attacking other people, whether it's online or face-to-face. We'd want to hear from them.
Well, we would know that each person who isn't us holds the medicine that we need, right? The part of the truth that we don't have, because each of us has our own position in relationship to this big thing that's called what is true, right? And we would know that we can't really survive well without each other, without hearing that information.